Hey friend, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here listening to another episode of the Pattern Design Circle podcast. Here we talk all about the ins and outs of designing knit and crochet patterns and running a business that makes it all possible. I'm Jessica, your host, knitting pattern designer, design mentor, and the friend in your ear. Can't wait to dive right in. The Pattern Design Circle podcast is sponsored by the Pattern Design Circle, a membership community for knit and crochet pattern designers that are feeling lost, lonely, or frustrated in their business. It connects you with a supportive community that's always eager to answer your questions and help you through the hard times. And there's loads of resources and activities specifically catered to business and designing. Sound like your jam? Check it out at snickerdoodleknits.com/design-circle. That's snickerdoodle, like the cookie, knits, knits.com/design-circle. All right, let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to the Pattern Design Circle podcast. I'm so excited to be here chatting with you again. We are continuing our marketing series here on the podcast. So we started with Marketing 101, and we're covering just all sorts of different marketing strategies. Remember, this isn't telling you to do all of these strategies. This is giving you an overview of how all of these different strategies work, the concepts behind them, similarities and the differences. Like, for example, basically the content you can kind of share, the things you can talk about are the same regardless of where you're at. It's just maybe the method that you use to share them that might be a little different. The audience can also be a bit different depending on your marketing platform and strategy. So today we are talking about blog marketing your business through your blog. So what is blogging? You're probably familiar with the concept of blogging. You might not be as familiar with the concept of blogging in terms of a marketing strategy for a business. But I promise you it is still alive and doing well. A lot of people have this misconception that blogs are a lost art, that they are dying, nobody's using them, and that is not true from the numbers. So really, blogging is providing value, providing content that is valuable for free on a website. And that's the same idea as what we're using social media for. We're providing content that is valuable to our customers, to our audience, for free on a platform. So really, it's the same idea between almost all of these marketing strategies. I argue that email marketing is unique. But the idea is really sharing. I mean, even with email marketing, it's sharing value for free to an audience, and then making money for your business, selling your product. So the content format for a blog is typically long form written content. What long form versus short form means: basically, short form is quick and fast to consume. Long form takes a little bit longer to consume. So, for example, a YouTube video that is 30 minutes is considered a long form video, where a YouTube short or an Instagram reel that's, say, 30 seconds, that is called short form video content. So long form written content is like a long blog post that's going to take several minutes for somebody to really consume and read the whole thing. One thing that I personally find nice about blogs over videos, that as far as long form content goes, is that blogs you can skim. So we have nice headings and all of that really help us skim through the content. So even if your audience is maybe in a rush trying to decide if they actually want to read this, they have a few more indicators that they can find a little quicker. Now, the one really nice thing about blogging is that it is searchable on the internet. So when you go onto Google and you search is the sky blue? Whatever you want to search. Right now, the sky is not blue, it's rather gray. But when you go to Google and you search a question, obviously there's loads and loads and loads of information on the internet that Google could choose to show you. The way it prioritizes what it shows you, well, of course, there's ads, but besides that, is the strength of the blog's search engine optimization. So SEO, search engine optimization. That's using keywords and phrases that people are searching for. And so having strong SEO is important for your website, your blog. But that is exactly what makes it searchable. So what this means is that somebody is searching for what you're talking about, they can find you, which is pretty exciting and amazing. It also means that the people that are finding you are warm leads for your product. And what that means is that they're more likely to buy than somebody who stumbles across you on Instagram, for example. They are specifically searching for that information and really interested in finding it. And so they're more likely to purchase something that solves that problem or answers that question for them. So what this all boils down to is that your blog needs to have content that is very valuable to your ideal customer and relates to the products that you sell. So for a few examples, say you are a sweater designer. Your blog posts, you could talk about different garment constructions. You could talk about choosing the right fit, the right size. You could talk about positive ease and negative ease. You could talk about, I just had another idea. Customizing the fit, like how makers can adjust an existing pattern to get a better fit. You could talk about colors in garments. You could talk about how to choose colors, how to combine different colors. You could talk about I just had another idea again and now I lost it. Anyway, there's loads and loads of different topics that you can talk about that will be of interest to your ideal customer. Now, this is all assuming that you have already done your ideal customer work. You're already very clear on your brand and what your business provides, what makes you unique, and what your brand pillars are, what you're really interested in talking about. Then you can dive into those topics and really establish your expertise in the field. So what I mean by that is don't go start creating blog posts all about color when that has nothing to do with what you want to share, your brand, your expertise, or what your ideal customer is interested in. Because then if your blog is all about colors, color combinations, color work, and you don't even have designs that are mixing colors, you're attracting an audience to your blog that isn't going to be interested in purchasing your patterns. So you want to make sure there's alignment there. Alrighty. And I kind of touched on this, but I think another wonderful thing about blogging is that it really does help establish your expertise. It sets you as a leader in the industry, and it builds trust with your audience. Whether you're posting blogs and just sharing them with your social media audience, or you're actually attracting people, also new people online, it just builds your authority and sets you apart from other folks more. So now, where do we host a blog? Where do we even start? If you have a website, my number one recommendation is definitely host it on your website. If you don't have a website, and you would like to have a website, yes, host it on your website. There is, like there's Blogger, which is for blogging, but I do not recommend it because you're a business trying to sell things. And so I think it's more valuable to have a website with a blog on it. You can have a free website like on PayHip, which also still has the ability to have a blog on there. And that works great. So if you don't have a website yet, different options to consider. There's Wix. That's what my website's on. I found it to be the easiest to use. They've got, different templates, but it's also the most customizable, which was really important to me. And I have lots of different features. I will say that, some of those features end up being add-ons or you have to upgrade to another level, things like that. So do keep that in mind. Squarespace, I think, is probably the top competitor with Wix. If I were to restart, I would maybe go to Squarespace instead, just because of what I've learned of, especially around SEO features that Squarespace has. That said, I know Wix has also added a lot of things, so I don't know if it's still lagging that much. WordPress is commonly like the best website platform to use to build a multi-million-dollar business, things like that. I see it a lot in the business world. But I think the reality of it is that's really only if you've got all sorts of income streams and hundreds of thousands of people trying to purchase from you all at the same time and things like that. Like the capacity of what it can hold is greater. But for most businesses, it's not necessary. Even businesses that are yielding $1 million a year are still able to get along fine on places like Squarespace. So WordPress is an option. So my first website was with WordPress and I got so frustrated I left. It's just not nearly as intuitive in my perspective. You can buy like their templates and things like that and then plug and play a little more, but then it's like, for me, the reason to go with WordPress was it was the cheapest, but then it didn't actually end up being the cheapest because then you have to add all this stuff. So that's my personal 2 cents. And then PayHip, I think, is the most common free platform, period. Wix, you can have a free website, but then you can't have a custom domain on it, I don't think, which means you end up having Wix in your website URL. So PayHip, if you're looking for a free option, PayHip is definitely my recommendation. The way that they make money is by their fees when you make a sale. So, yeah, that's the way to host it. How often should you post on your blog? Great question. You could post once a day, you could post once a week, you could post once a month. Something that I love about blogging is that unless it's your main strategy, consistency really doesn't matter. Like, sure, I want to have several blog posts available for folks to read and to really be able to get value from it once they find my blog, but you're not demoted when you're not creating new content. Like social media content, quote unquote, dies so quickly that it's important to be constantly creating more content. Blogging, it just sits there on the internet and keeps attracting people. So it's really nice. When I am focusing on a blog strategy, I try to blog personally once a week. I think twice a month would just be fine too. But the more content you have out in the world, the more likely people are to find your content. So there is that too. And now, I guess just the basics of the strategy. How does it work? You post a blog. And when you do so, it's not like just posting a blog, instantly everybody sees it. So you can't, I don't know if all blogs allow you to or not, but many blog platforms allow you to have subscribers to your blog. So that means that when you post a blog post, it will notify them and say, hey, here's a new blog, check it out, which is great. It's kind of the idea of having an email list just for your blog. You can then also share your blog post on any other marketing platform. So if you have an email list, you can send an email to your email list and say, share a little bit about the blog post, what the content is, why it's relevant to them, whatever you want to share, and link them to the blog and have them read the blog post. You can post about it on social media. So maybe you make a post or a reel or a carousel, maybe giving a little bit of a summary and then saying, go to the blog linked in my bio to learn more. You can share it on YouTube, same way. Maybe you create a YouTube video with similar content and tell them to go to the blog post. You can share it on Pinterest. Pinterest is an amazing kind of partner to blogging for strategy because you can pin about it on Pinterest and literally use like your blog title. There's more Pinterest strategy to that, and have people click and they go straight to your blog, and that's exactly what they were looking for. So Pinterest is also a search engine optimization tool. People search on Pinterest for something, similar idea to Google. So Pinterest is definitely complementary to blogging, as is an email list. And that's just a great way to be able to share your blog content other places. So with blog, and then of course, it goes out into the internet and anybody online can find it. It is a little bit slower for people to find it. Like you have to start ranking as a website, as a blog, as that individual blog post in order for it to be found. So in a sense, it can take longer to build up than social media sometimes. But then once it's going, it just keeps going. You can go in and edit your SEO with things like that with time. But once it's there, which is lovely when we have so many platforms where content's just kind of disappearing, getting forgotten and lost. So then how do we make money with blogging as a marketing strategy? Well, how are you making money on social media? You are providing value, whether that's entertainment, education, inspiration, and you are promoting your product and encouraging people to go purchase it. Blogging's very similar idea, and you can do it in different ways. You can have probably the most common is that you have the blog post, and in the blog post, you encourage folks to sign up for your freebie or lead magnet or opt-in. Those are all three names for the same thing, on your email list. And then that gets them on the email list at a lower commitment to them than if they were to purchase something. But you can also have a blog post and have it lead to a product. This works better for things like knitting patterns than it does for things like a course that you teach one time or a class that you teach one time, because your blog post was on for a long time. And so you want whatever you link to be something that's around as long as the blog is around. Some other common ways to make money on your blog are ads and affiliate programs. Now, affiliate programs are something that definitely work with the other marketing strategies just the same as well. The blogging, though, seems like such a great partner because you can link to things so easily in a blog post. So if you're talking about a yarn or some knitting needles, you can, or maybe a stitch dictionary, something like that, you can link to that product so people can purchase it easily. And if you're an affiliate of the product, you can get a percentage of the sale. There's loads and loads and loads of businesses that have affiliate programs. You can sign up as an affiliate for Amazon, for Knit Picks, for Making Stories magazine, Lion Brand. You can sign up as an affiliate for Michael's. I guess I don't know if Lion Brand actually has an affiliate program, but Michael's Craft Store, so many places have affiliate programs. Pattern Design Circle has an affiliate program. And so then you can make sales just by mentioning folks that are relevant to your ideal customer, that are relevant to the audience that is reading that blog post. You want it to be relatable and you want to share products that you actually recommend. But that is definitely a way to make money in blogging. The other option that I mentioned is ads. You can, through your website, enable ads, and you can filter what kind of ads are shown and things like that. And then you embed them on your blog, and based on the number of based on the number of views or clicks, things like that, you can make money off of those ads. Personally, I don't love that. I just don't love ads on blogs. I get it. It can definitely be a very successful marketing strategy. It's just not my favorite personally. So you won't see that on my blog. But yeah, and then of course, sell your product, link to it, you can have a banner at the top or the bottom showing some of your knitting patterns or a specific knitting pattern or a course or whatever that's related to that blog post to get them to purchase. You can do exactly the same thing for your freebie lead magnet and encourage them to join your email list. A lot of websites also allow you to, to have an opt-in form just to join your email list. If that's an easy way to start if you don't have a freebie or lead magnet yet. And then the way you make money from your email list is to then sell to your email list later. You can have a funnel that's set up so that early on when they're new to your email list, it sends them information about your products and your patterns and encourages them to purchase. And then, of course, when you launch and you promote a sale or something like that. So several different ways to make money off blogging. I find it really interesting. Sometimes we have this notion that blogging is like giving away so much free content and how could you make money off of it? And in a lot of ways, we expect ourselves to make more free content for social media, but we don't think about it quite the same. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. Like, yes, you're creating valuable free content, but that's what you're doing if you're using social media as well. If you're using YouTube, if you're anything that you're creating. And there's a reason we're creating free content. This is a whole big conversation, of course, but the free content is building the like, no, trust factor. It is building connection and relationships with your audience. There's a lot of benefits to creating valuable free content, but you really need to know how to make money from that as a business to make it successful from a monetary perspective. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about SEO, search engine optimization. This, like I mentioned before, is how your content gets found. It is the magic of search using keywords, key phrases, and so what you want to include not only in the blog title, but within the blog itself, keywords that your audience, your ideal customer is searching for. So, for example, if we go back to the sweater example, you can, if your audience is searching how to make a custom sweater, and that's the exact phrasing that they're using, you can use that in your blog title. You can use it within different blog headers for spaces. You can, like, for just like subheadings, and then you can use it in different paragraphs. Don't bombard it so it's like super obvious that you're just trying to say this phrase over and over again, but build it into all of the content that you're creating there. And that makes it more searchable. It's telling Google or Bing or Yahoo or whomever is searching that this blog really has a lot of content specifically about this, and it's likely to be a good fit for somebody who's searching for that. So when it comes to keywords, long tail keywords is the terminology used for several words, like a phrase, like a keyword phrase. So your blog title could have additional words beyond that phrase. And that can still be a long tail keyword, but it's searchable as a big long phrase. It's also searchable in the smaller phrases. So custom sweater could be a keyword phrase, and how to make a custom sweater can also be a keyword phrase, and your blog could be searchable for both of those phrases. Now, the interesting / frustrating part of blogging is knowing what your audience is actually searching. What terms are they actually using? And so we can go on to Google. Google has autofill recommendations, so you can start to type something and see the recommendations that they're giving. Gives you an idea of what other people are searching. And there's also platforms that help us find that information, that really tell us how many people are searching for a given keyword phrase, what the difficulty is to rank for that. So like if there's a whole lot of competition for that keyword phrase, you're less likely to rank, say, on the first page or in the first few results as a new blogger than somebody who's been doing it for a while. So two platforms that I can recommend for that are Keywords Everywhere and Ubersuggest. They both have free options and paid versions, but they can really help you dive into really understanding what keywords to use, what kind of content to create, and how to make it valuable for people searching online. Now, it's interesting, if you use these platforms, you really, like, you could build out your whole blogging strategy based on what people are searching. But you want to be sure that you are providing value there. So you want to know what you're talking about, and you want it to be relatable to your business and your brand. Like what's the point in gathering lots and lots of folks to look at your blog when it's not leading to sales? Now, you might have a very valid point, but just keep that in mind. Just because there are a lot of people searching for a certain keyword and you make a blog post about it and you're ranking highly, that doesn't mean that you're going to make a lot of sales. So really think about the connections and how it relates to your business, overall strategy, what you're selling, what you're creating, what you're providing value for. A couple other things. I had mentioned the subheading. In blogging and websites, you can use different headers so there's H1, H2, H3, etc. H1 is considered the overall blog title. You do not want to use H1 anywhere else in your blog post. Just use that for the blog title at the top. H2 is then considered the next, like, most important subheading. And so that's what you typically want to use for your header, your subheadings throughout your blog post. So H2 can also be like searchable. Like, I mean, obviously the whole thing is searchable, but it's telling like Google really that it's a prominent part of your blog. Like, just like the header, not the subheading, H1, the header, the title of your blog tells Google, tells the user that is what your blog post is all about. Now, your subheadings give a further indication of what all the blog post talks about. So if you're using H2, that tells Google, hey, this is a category, a subject that is being discussed in this blog post. So, and then H3 is like the next level down from H2. H1 and H2 are the main ones searchable, and I believe H3 is as well. I did also just want to mention that you can create a bio typically on your blog, whether that's top or like on the right-hand corner, not corner, column. But show a picture of yourself, give an introduction to who you are and what you do and what you create. It just helps to build that connection with you and makes folks more interested in and really following along what you're creating and supporting you and your work. Yeah, so really I had written down opt-in, but we already talked about the opt-in, the lead magnet. It's probably the most common way to use blogging. I mean, obviously ads are big, but from a business marketing strategy, I mostly see opt-ins, lead magnets being used on blogs to really provide contact with your audience that's interested in hearing from you. So just remember, really, all of the marketing strategies, they're about providing value. Choosing the strategy that works for you is about what your ideal customer, your audience is really looking for, where they're at, where they're spending time, how they're looking for their answers, and what you like to create. I also did want to share that, just like with everything, feel free to stretch what you feel like the boundaries are. Like I mentioned at the beginning, typically blogging is a long form written content. That does not mean that's what your blog has to be. Now, you do need to have the SEO implemented in your blog, each blog post in order to be searchable, but you can embed videos, you can add art, you can do all sorts of different things to your blog post that makes them feel maybe like a less traditional blog post. And I think a lot of people can be hesitant to do something new and different because they're afraid that's the wrong way to do it or that it's not going to be successful or whatever like that. But when you do something new and unique to you, it also helps set yourself apart. It makes people remember you. It can be really intriguing to see somebody doing something different when we're so used to seeing so many people acting similarly. So whether it's blog marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, Pinterest marketing, podcast marketing, whatever you're doing, feel free to push the boundaries a little bit and do something that's unique and really feels aligned with you. That's my bottom line with any of this marketing discussion is I don't think there's any one thing you that is the right answer that you should be doing. I really believe in creating an aligned business that feels good and authentic to you. And that includes your marketing strategies. So I hope this gave you a nice overview of blog marketing, gave you some things to think about, helps you really weigh whether blogging is a good marketing strategy for you and your business, or it's just not something you're interested in. So I look forward to chatting a bit more with you again soon, and I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you later. Wow, thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found it valuable, please share the podcast with a designer friend. And if you have a minute, leave a review. It's so helpful for me and means the world to me. Chat soon.